Hi, good afternoon, guys. My name is Henry Marino. I'll be your instructor this evening for the Ford J2534 webinar. I'd like to welcome you guys to this webinar today. Unfortunately, in these circumstances that we're in right now with the COVID-19, we're all doing practice to stay at home. I'm glad to be here to be able to teach you guys a little bit about Ford programming at this time. So, hopefully you guys get something out of this. Opus is just trying to be here for you guys during these hard times, and then hopefully we can get through this and, get back to work. All right. So with that said, we're going to start this webinar. I'm going to basically go over how to purchase the software, how to subscribe to the software, how to download the software, and how to program a PCM and TCM on a Ford Expedition. All right. I'm also going to show you guys how to enter in the Solenoid strategy ID numbers for the transmission for your valve bodies. Okay. So let's get it started. All right. So Opus would like to introduce the new Drive ES tool. It's a more powerful tool. It's has more speed. It has a better interface now. It also has more capabilities with European software and domestic software. It's got a more battery life in it. It's a little bit more powerful than the Drive unit. It's our new one that's out now. It comes with the wrap software as well, so you get the service from Drew Technologies to be able to program modules with their services. I'm actually a wrap programmer as well for Drew Technologies, so part of that service, I'll be able to help you program vehicles as well with the service. And you also have master technicians that are willing to assist you guys on programming and diagnosing these vehicles. You're working with industry-leading technical support, both SAE and hybrid certified master technicians, and they're also NASTM certified. So they can help you guys with key programming, diagnostics at the most professional level that we have out here in Opus IVS. All right. Ford. Okay, so these are J2534 system requirements that you absolutely need for Ford programming successfully. All right, so just gonna go through that with you guys real quick. Okay, the voltage supply must be between 12.5 and 13.5 volts. Anything less than 12 volts or more than 15 volts will cause programming failure. So guys, you have to make sure that you maintain the voltage between these specs. You can fluctuate up and down a little bit, but you don't want to go under 12 or above 15, because then the program will just stop and you won't be able to program the car. So you just have to start everything over again. It won't brick the module, but you'll be able to do it over again. So that goes for any used modules, reman modules, or brand new modules. So don't worry about bricking them. You just got to make sure that the voltage is at a sufficient level so you can successfully program the module. All right. Please use a good battery maintainer to have consistent proper voltage during programming. You want to have a good battery maintainer. I put this picture up because this is actually one of the good maintainers that are out there right now. There's a lot of them out there, I know, but you don't want to be using any trickle charges and things like that. You don't want to be using a charger. Sometimes people use chargers. You can get away with it. That's fine. But for programming purposes, they want you to use maintainers. So if you're programming a vehicle or you're starting to program a vehicle for the first time, you might want to invest in a battery maintainer, a good one. That's going to be able to successfully program these vehicles and keep that voltage at the level it's supposed to be. No aftermarket components or tuners should be active before programming. All accessories and loads must be off if equipped. Please turn off or disconnect. So that means, guys, you can't have any aftermarket components. That means radios, remote starters, tuners. Those all have to be disconnected before programming, because if you start programming, you might run into issues with a module you're trying to reflash for a drivability issue or a customer concern. Run into issues if you try to update it with a tuner. Sometimes you might get away with it, but most of the times, in my experience, they don't work out too well. So I advise disconnecting everything before you start programming. Okay, so this is the minimum specifications for running Ford diagnostic software. You need Windows 10 Professional, okay? They don't use Windows, I think it's Home Edition. You can't use Windows 10 Home Edition. It's not going to work with that. You could use 7 and 8.1, but they recommend you using 10 Professional. Internet Explorer has to be at 11 and up. level 11 up. You need to be at 4 gigs or greater of memory space in your computer, and the processor of the computer has to be at 2.1 gigahertz or greater. Okay, so all these play in a factor of successfully programming with Ford. So you want to make sure if you go out there and buy a laptop that you match these specs, and that you're able to use that computer to program these vehicles, because anything less than that, unless Ford updates something, you're not going to be able to program the car. Okay, motocrashservice.com. So this is basically the website you're going to go to when you first initially go to Ford programming, and you're basically going to register online with them. And this is what the website looks like. So you're going to select your country. You're going to select your language. So when you select your language, obviously it's going to, populate to the language that you're accustomed to, and it's going to be able to go through everything with you. And then you just click submit to move forward. All right, so this is basically the page that you're looking at right here. Show you real quick what the top options provide. So home is basically just the home page, obviously. Service information is just service information manuals of the different type of vehicles. If there's TSBs out there, you're able to get it through that. Any training that Ford is allowing to do or available, or any types of webinars they might be having, you could go on the training option and see what's out there right now, or anything that Ford is coming out with that's about to come out soon. You'll be able to get it through there. Key codes, basically this is for like key code operation. If you're trying to program keys or see capabilities of keys or what kind of vehicles you want to program, you're able to go through that function. Diagnostic tool support. This is basically where you're going to live to download your software, purchase your software, and you update your software. Free resources. This is really cool, guys. Free resources basically gives you a lot of information about vehicle information manuals, how to repair the vehicle, as-built data, which is very helpful when you have a module that you need to program that you don't have the information from the original one, because either the original one doesn't communicate, or it's burnt out, or you just don't have it. The customer brought you a new module without the original module. You'll be able to get that information through that as-built data, which is really cool on these free resources. There's a lot of other options as well. I would go more into detail with it, but due to time restraints, I'm just going to move forward. But that's basically it. Free resources is a really good option. So when you go to the website, just check it out. Okay, so this is where we're going to register today, all right? So you just click on register today. Obviously, you're going to enter your username, first name, last name, your country. Make sure you create an email so you can enter your email address. Without an email, you're not going to be able to create an account. So make sure you have an email address to create your account. User type. You want to be specific on what type of user you are. If you're an independent shop, a locksmith, a do-it-yourselfer, or just a vocational school. You want to make sure, you just let them know exactly what type of account you have, and that, to associate with your account. So just choose what it is, and then just click next. Enter your password, create your password, confirm it. Then you click agree. Make sure you read the terms and conditions of the policy, and then click agree. There's more terms and policies that you have to read. Make sure you read those if you wish, and just click agree. Once you do that, you've registered successfully on the website. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. Once you log in, you'll see a welcome screen there, and with your username, and then you're logged in. All right. So now we're going to purchase and download the FJDS software for programming. All right. So like I said, this is where you're going to live on the diagnostic tool support. You're going to click on that. What we're doing is we're going to purchase the software first. You're going to go to software, FJDS. You're not going to choose IDS because IDS is used with the VCM1 and VCM2 that you use with that Ford's box that they use for programming. FJDS is what we use for J2534 protocol. So that's what you're going to be choosing if you use J2534. Once you click on that, you can click on purchase software. Okay. Now I'm going to give you guys a little rundown of the purchase software licensing. Basically, the integrated diagnostic software for IDS, again, is just used for VCM and VCM2. And that's all you can use it for with that software, right? So you can't use J2534 protocol for that at all. So you're not going to want to buy this unless you have a VCM1 or 2. This is what you're going to want to use, the Ford FJDS software, because obviously it's compatible J2534, but it's also compatible with VCM2, not VCM1, just VCM2. All right. So if you have a VCM2, you can get away with purchasing the software and actually using the VCM2 program. You don't have to buy a J2534. And the Ford Diagnostic Repair System software is basically Ford's latest software that's out now for 2008 and vehicles and up. It doesn't do anything lower than that. It doesn't do any diagnostics. It focuses on the newer vehicles that are out now from 2018 and up. I'm not sure if they go from 2016 and up. I would look into that, but what they say is that 2018 and up is where they're going from. All right. Now, this is the vehicle coverage. Obviously, you have the IDS, FJDS, and FDRS. And it tells you on the right exactly what's compatible for. So the IDS is compatible from 96 to 2017. And then it does diagnostics from 2018 and present. And for module programming, it does from 96 to 2017. So it's the IDS has got a lot of information, a lot of software you guys can use for programming if you have a VCM1 and VCM2. The FJDS software for J2534 unfortunately doesn't do any diagnostics for any vehicles that are 96 and 2017, but 2018 and present, it has that now. It recently came out. Before it didn't support it, but now it does support it. It came out about 2 months ago that they released this update, and it has the diagnostic software for 2008 and present vehicles. So now you'll be able to do that and program 96 to 17 model vehicles. But they also have from 18 and up. So, but with 18 and up, guys, I want to make sure you guys understand this. You're going to need a locksmith license for these vehicles, because Ford now has moved to locksmith license. You can no longer program without a license for 2018 models and up. I'll give you a perfect example. I think the 2016 or 17 Mustang, you cannot program those vehicles without a locksmith license. So you're going to need a locksmith license for that. All right. So just keep that in mind. On the older models, you're not going to need it. It's all go through Pass, but I'm going to show you guys that momentarily in the webinar of where you're going to go to do that. But you can program keys, and you don't need to have a locksmith license. It's only for the newer, vehicles from 18 and up. All right. All right, so this is basically the cost of the software. So if you're doing a lot of programming, like you got, programming that's coming in every single day, you're going to want to buy the 365-day release, because it's going to make you money. It's only $900 for the year, which is great, very cheap, because if you think about it, normal program is like $125 to $150 per module. All right, so if you do 10 modules, you've made your money back. If you're doing a lot of business with it. 30 days, you don't want to do it if you're not doing, you're doing so-so, you're not doing as much. Again, it's going to make your money back in like 3 cars. 2 days, obviously, it's $150, and so on and so forth. And you got 2 days, which is only $50 per license. Now, what they mean by per license is that you have the capability of deactivating the license and activating the license. In case you don't want nobody using your license, you can actually deactivate it, and then you can activate it when you use it. I'm going to show you guys what I mean momentarily when we get into the further into the webinar. All right, so here's a price list. So just keep that in mind. Very cheap. It's not bad. It's pretty cheap for it. Okay, so now we're going to download the FJDS software. I'm going to show you guys where to download it. I'm not going to actually physically show you what it does, what it's downloading. I'm just show you where to go to download it. So you're going to go back to Diagnostics Tool Support. You click on Software, FJDS, and download software. You're going to do this after you purchase your software, right? So first you're going to purchase it, obviously, and then once you purchase your software, you're going to be able to access it through the download. If you don't purchase, it's not going to allow you to access it. So just go ahead and when you purchase it, you can go ahead and access it and download it, okay? Once you get there, you're going to see this page pop up. In the middle is where your links are at. So if you see at the top, it says IDS 117 full, FDRS 23.53, and FJDS 117 full. So that means it's the full program. The top ones are the full programs. All right, that's what you would use. And obviously each one's selectable. So if you're using IDS, obviously you're gonna pick the first one. If you're using FDRS, you're gonna pick the second one. Or if you're choosing J2534, you're gonna pick the last one. All right. So the first one obviously is diagnostic tool, diagnostics and installation of the software. It's not for European vehicles. This is only for US models, not for South America or Europe, just North America. All right. This is if you have a VCI. This is just a software for Ford's VCI that you can download here. And this is how to update the software. So let's say you already have the software installed on your computer already, and you're like, there's a new update available, let me check. Just go back here in the software download, and you check on the third one, that will update your software. You'll be able to see if it's the latest software that's out. See at the bottom, it shows you the date and time of when the update was released. So you want to go all the way down to the bottom where it says R118.01, which is the latest one that's out right now. So that's what you're looking for when you check the third one. You want to make sure that that update is compatible with that, because sometimes Ford hasn't released it yet. So, it's still there with the old software. So once they release it, you'll see it up to date. So if you don't see it up to date, you don't have to download it. If you do, go ahead and update the software, because your Ford software won't run properly unless it's updated. So make sure you update your software. So like I said, yeah, the update is available at the very bottom. Okay, at the very bottom is download VMS. That's just another, just manuals for Ford. It's not programs, it's just manuals that they have out that you can just download PDFs and things like that if you need information. All right, so again, this is where you click to go ahead and install the full one. We're gonna install FJDS, the very bottom one, 117 full. Once you install the program, this is the icon that's going to pop up on your desktop, okay? So once you do that, all you got to do is click on that, and that will activate the programming for Ford. You have to do nothing else, all right? Just that. Make sure your VCI is plugged in, the vehicle key on, engine off before you start. You got your battery maintainer plugged in, and you got sufficient voltage, and then you go ahead and click on the icon. Okay, programming a PCM and updating a TCM on a 2010 Ford Expedition. Now, guys, I'm going to give you a variety of things here to see. There's a lot of different ways of doing this, but I just want you to see what you'll be looking for when you're programming a PCM or a TCM, or what the software does when it's trying to either program a PCM and update a TCM if both modules are incorporated with each other. Okay, so most of the time the PCM does control the outputs of the TCM, so it's gonna want to update that too if you're doing a PCM. All right, most of the times when you do TCM programming, you have to update the PCM. But that depends on the service, information that you get off the Ford website or the information that you get on your account. So once you do that, we're gonna move forward. I clicked on the icon, and I'm getting I get the screen now. You can see this now. You know that the Ford software is loading. All right, and this is the menu that's gonna pop up. Now, before we get started, I want to show you guys the icons at the very top. Okay. You have like a little ball and socket there. You have a little vehicle there, and you have a little toolbox there at the top. The ball and socket, and the bottom one has the little icons with the little vehicle, a document, and a vehicle with a folder in it. I'll show you exactly what that is momentarily. Now, the ball and socket one at the top, when you click on that, you're going to get the information of everything, like basically the computer, what state you're in, what passenger device you're using, if the account is active and activated for programming, what date it was activated. It's just general stuff that you might want to know. I don't really look into it. Not a lot of people do, unless they're curious about what's going on. If their software is not working correctly, or maybe you have an aftermarket J2534 that's not a Cardac, or it's not a Bosch. It might be an Autel or something like that, an aftermarket that's not compatible with, or it's not seeing it. This is where you would go to actually see whether or not the passenger device is activated on the program. Because if you see below where it says hardware, I have a J2534 passenger device, which is Drew Technologies passenger device. So if you see Drew Technologies passenger device and you have an aftermarket and you're not seeing that pass-through device, obviously you're not connected to that pass-through device. So you don't want to change that when you're in the hardware. Okay, the Swiss Army knife. This one gives you all the system utilities that you need, like your printer settings. If you can print something now after you program it, if you want to give the customer, the update bulletin, or there's no update bulletin available, like it's already up to date, you can show your customer that. You can print it out with that setting. Any dealer information that you might have, you can set it in there. J2534 pass-through device. This is where you select the pass-through device that you're actually using. So if the incorrect pass-through device is there, you can actually select it and then change the pass-through device that's in there. Make sure you properly install your J2534 software correctly, if you can activate your device. Because if you don't activate the device, like the DrewTech one, the card has to be activated. If you don't activate it, you're not going to see the pass-through device in the program. So you want to make sure you activate it or whatever you're using to program with, all right? Network options. Obviously, if your network's having issues, you're going to want to click on that and see what's going on. If the network is working, if everything's working the way it's supposed to, you'll be able to see X's and green marks letting you know that the network's not running properly. Public internet access. It's just your password and your internet access for Wi-Fi. License management. This is what I was talking about you guys earlier, guys, the license management. So basically, if I buy a license, I click on that and I can return the license back to me, and I can recover the license and bring it back and validate the license again. So if I don't want nobody using my license, I want to keep it to myself, I can return that license, recover the license to myself, and then I can always activate it when I see it. All I got to do is store it in like a notepad or something like that in your computer and just copy and paste it if it asks you to validate it again. Okay. Now I'm showing you guys this because this is a little bit more advanced for guys who program a lot. I'm not sure if you guys program a lot, but if you do, you know about this. With update special function programming modules, you want to have the original module. The reason why I say that is because you want to inhale the information from the original module to transfer it over to the new module. All right. With that, it makes life so much easier. If you do not have the original module, let's say it's fried, no communication to it, and you just have the new one, you're going to have to get as-built data information from it on certain modules. Now, most of the times when you're programming, it's going to give you a bunch of error messages where it can't communicate with the module. This is where you go into the update special function menu and you type in code 53061. Once you type that code in, it's going to bring you back to this main screen, and you continue as usual, as normal, and then just follow the prompts as you go along. It will allow you to access the network and program the module without having the original module available. So basically, it's going to pull all the as-built data from the server and dump it into the module, all right? And it's going to use that special function to do so. You might run into issues. I'm not saying this is bulletproof, because I've run into issues where I've done it and it still doesn't work. Odds are the module is no good, or there's something you're not doing right, or something's not connected right, or the CAN system on the network is not working sufficiently. So you're going to want to use that, which is a great tool for that. All right. And right here, extract log files and launch monitor tools. It's just sending logs and recording the hotline to the dealer text. That's all it is. It's just for dealers only, so you're not going to really be using this at all. All right. So I just thought I'd throw that out there so you guys know what that is. All right. Once we know that, we're going to click on the little card at the top. We're going to go start the program. I'm going to show you guys a little rundown of what the options are in the programming menu. So we're going to click on Start New Session. Again, make sure your battery voltage is sufficient. Keys on, engine off. All loads in the vehicle must be off, and all accessories must be turned off. All right, headlights, all those things, radios must be turned off. AC has to be turned off before programming. Give me a second here, guys. I'm sorry about this. All right, don't worry, guys. So basically, there's a little check mark over there that you're going to click on. I try to move my window, but I can't find it really how to move this thing, but it's okay. You're going to click on the little check mark that's there. All right. And next screen, you're going to get a warning sign letting you know that J2534 is about to start, It's basically telling you everything I just told you right now. Make sure the connections are ready to go. Keys on, engine off. You have your parking brake applied, or it's in park or neutral. Once you're ready to go, you click on the tick in the bottom right-hand corner. All right. And once you do that, it's going to run down, start communicating with the vehicle, and it's going to start populating the vehicle information right here. So we see here where Expedition EL 5.4 automatic gasoline vehicle. So once we know that's the correct vehicle, you're going to want to click yes. All right. And once you see this here, you're going to want to make sure that VIN number is correct. All right. So if you guys are replacing a PCM from a salvage yard, or you're getting it from a reman, once you see this here, you won't see anything there if it's a blank module. But if it's a used module, you're going to want to make sure you input the correct VIN number of the vehicle, or the system is going to program the car, and then later it's going to give you a code letting you know that the VIN number is incorrect on a certain module. All right, so then you're going to have to go back and change everything over again. So just make sure when you go in through here, you just make sure you got the right VIN in here, input it correctly. You do not have to put a repair order number unless you guys are working with repair order numbers in your shop when you have to print it out for the customer. And you can type that in there if you want. For program purchases here at Jutech and Autologic, we don't really use that. So we just click continue. At the bottom, if you see the odometer reading, it always reads in kilometers. So you're not going to see mileages and things like that. It always reads in kilometers. If you're replacing an instrument cluster, you can edit that out after programming the vehicle, because it will ask the module, because it will ask you what the proper mileage is on the vehicle. And all you got to do is input that. So don't worry about that for now. If you're programming a module, you'll be able to edit that later. All right. Once you're ready to go, you can click on the tick. Again, excuse me, the arrow's there, and I can't move my image from the spot, so I do apologize. All right. So again, it's going to populate all the vehicle information. I know I put the correct VIN number in there, so now it's populating the correct VIN. It's populating the correct odometer reading, and it's populating the correct vehicle information that I need. So now that I know I'm good to go, I'm going to click on the little tool icon at the top, because now I'm ready to program. As you can see at the bottom, the very bottom says complete. That means it's fully completed reading the vehicle. It knows exactly what it is. It knows the mileage. It knows the VIN number, so it's ready to go into the programming menu. So once you're ready, you're going to see at the top, just click on the little toolbox option. All right. So like I told you guys earlier, FJDS came out with a new update where they're actually letting you do self-tests now. They didn't allow you to do that before. So you weren't able to do self-tests before. You only do programming of the modules and key programming. That's it. They added all these new features like the self-test, the body, the chassis, electrical, and powertrain, all for diagnostics. So the great thing about it, now you could, before you even program the car, you can see what's wrong with the car. You can do a self-test real quick. It'll generate the information for you and let you know what's wrong with the vehicle before programming. So you know it's good to go for programming. If not, then you know there's an issue. You can always go back and start diagnosing the vehicle and go back to when you're ready to program. All right. There's module programming. Obviously, it's the option for programming the modules. You get the PATS function, which is PATS functions, passive anti-theft systems. That's right. Thank you, Chris. And then we have the body, chassis, and electrical, and powertrain. So these are all the different options you could choose. You can check them individually, see what you want to check, so you don't have to do the entire self-test. All right. Okay, so we're going to do the programming now. So I'm going to show you guys what you're going to see when you click on the module programming. You're just going to click on next on the tick at the bottom. All right. Then you got the module programming installation at the top. So that's for new modules or reman modules or used modules. All right. In my opinion, I don't recommend using used modules because you run into too many issues where you can't communicate with the module. There's an issue with the module you can't program it with. I recommend you go new or reman. All right. Obviously, you always want to do new or reman. Use is only if you have to, but I don't recommend it. So these are all the modules you can program with for this particular vehicle. That's not to say that all vehicles are going to have all these options. When you run into the older model vehicles, you're going to get less and less options to program with. So you're not going to be able to have, ABS, ACM, the APIM, all those modules. You won't see those in older model vehicles. You'll probably see PCM, transmission control modules, things like that, very simple modules to program. You're not going to see as much. On newer vehicles, you're going to see a laundry list of modules that you can program, which is great. Because nowadays, as you know, these things are rolling computers, so you're going to need to update a lot of these modules. Module reprogramming. This is where you're updating the module. You're not reprogramming the module, okay? So this is only for updates. Now, if you don't need to update the module, I don't recommend you updating just because the customer says they want you to update the module. In my opinion, I think she'll only update the module when there's a TSB available for it, or there's a customer concern that will correct the issue, and that you know that update will do it, okay? Obviously, the TSB will let you know, but I don't recommend updating a module if you don't need to, because most of the times or sometimes it will cause more problems than it does good. So then you're replacing a module if something bad would happen, all right? So again, just for best practice, do it if you have to. See, there's all the modules right here that I can update on this vehicle. Programmable parameters. Basically, these are things that you do if you replace an RCM module or an ABS module on this Ford. You will have to do an IVD initialization sequence that basically marries the module to the vehicle CAN network. If you have to do Solenoid strategy IDs, which I'm going to show you later on in the webinar right now of how to input that, you would go here. If you have to do exterior lighting, parameter programming, the warning light lamps, the powertrain, things like that, you'll be able to get into that function and use them for programming as well. As-built data. This is what I was talking to you guys earlier. As-built data is all the vehicle information that the vehicle has in the module when it was first built. Okay, so when it rolled off of Ford and it came into the dealership, that all the as-built data is in that module. So that's the original module. If you remove the module from the vehicle and you replace it with a new one, obviously that module is not going to have the as-built data in it. So you're going to have to you're going to have to either manual input it, or like I said earlier, which makes life a lot easier, have the original module and let it inhale the information from that module and then put the new module in so you can put it into the new module, all right? So that makes life a lot easier. You don't have to do as-built data at all, because as-built data can be a little pain in the butt, all right? Because sometimes you can get the information off the service information from Ford, or sometimes you have to email Ford just to get the service information. Now your service is being delayed. Now you can't deliver your car to the customer, and now you got, tell them to wait, which is something that you don't want. You want to get that car out of the bay. So make sure, best practice, get the original module so you can inhale information and put it into the new one. All right? Makes life a lot easier. And these are the as-built data modules that this vehicle is allowing you to do. All right, which is laundry list. Again, this is not always like this. It's going to be different on all vehicles. As you get older, they're going to less and less and less. All right, or you might not even see as-built data. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to do the programming now. I'm going to click on programmable module installation. I'm going to click on my PCM, which is at the bottom. Okay, so during module programming, this module goes through a VIN verification process. So basically, it's going to read the VIN. So if it detects that the VIN is incorrect in the module, it's going to let you know right there. It's going to red flag you right there and tell you, this is not the correct VIN on this vehicle. I'm reading this VIN, and this is the VIN in this module. Please go back and correct it. So that's what it's going to do if it senses that. That's what it's telling you right now. Then this process compares the VIN in the module to the other VINs in the module. So it's talking to the network, and it wants to see if the VINs are matching. So if the VINs are matching, you're good to go. Life is good again, and you can move forward. All right, and then it makes sure the VIN number is correct on the module, which is good because we inputted it correctly, obviously. All right, so I'm showing you guys this because it's a little bit of everything that you're going to see when programming. All right, so let's say you program a PCM and the TCM gets the PCM controls the outputs of the TCM. It's going to prompt you an image like this where it's going to say, hey, the TCM is not calibrated, it's unknown, it needs to be updated to this number, and the PCM is at its current level here, and it's got to be changed to this number there. So it's going to do the update for you. It's going to program the vehicle. This is where you would write this down on the module. stamp a sticker on the module, and then write down the new calibration number so that the next technician that gets a hold of the car, if they're diagnosing it and they want to see if the module is up to date, they actually read the number off the module. And then when they check with FJDS, they can say, oh, it's the same number, I'm up to date, I don't have to do anything else, so that saves time. If it's not up to date, you'll be able to compare that with the new one, and you'll be like, okay, it's not up to date, let me move forward. All right, so that automatically will update the module for you. But for purposes right now, we're installing PCM, so we're going to program the PCM and the TCM, and you're just going to click on yes to move forward. All right. Obviously, the current level is at the top, and the new update software numbers at the bottom. If there's no update available, let's say you're looking for an update available, this is a screen you're going to see. No later calibrations available on the system for this PCM. So obviously, it's telling you right there you have no update available. So there's no need to move forward for updating that module. So you're going to have to look into other issues of why the car is doing what it's doing. All right. So it's going to load the necessary files and start checking the integrity of the vehicle. And it just asks you to wait. This takes about seconds, maybe 30 seconds to do, and then it moves forward. All right. This is very important, guys. Do not skip these steps. You want to key on, key off. Anytime that the Ford software tells you to turn a key on, you turn the key on. If it tells you to turn a key off, key off. Do not miss a step because it's going to go back. Either it'll error out and it'll make you do everything over again. Some guys get away with it that they can do it. It's happened to me where I forgot to flip a switch and it's moved forward, and it happens. But best practice, flip that switch. All right, guys? Okay. The module you're about to program has multiple internal memory locations. During programming, you will see multiple bar graphs. This is normal and expected. Please do not disconnect any cables or turn off during this process unless instructed to do so by the service tool. So that's basically what it's telling you. Do not do anything during the programming session, okay? Do not turn the vehicle off. Do not go in there and start turning the radio on. Do not move the shifter. Do not do anything in the vehicle. Make sure the key is on, engine off. All loads are off on the vehicle, radio's off. Ready to program. So do not touch the vehicle. Once you're ready, you know everything is good. Battery voltage is good. We're at 12.5 or 13.5. You click confirm. All right, it's asking me to turn the ignition off, which I'm going to do now. Start ignition off. And then once it starts programming, you're going to see this menu here. Now you're going to wait for the blue bar to go all the way across to the end. It's going to tell you it's going to stop. It's going to move to the next menu, but it's going to just do this for a good 15 to 20 minutes. Ford takes, to do a PCM on a Ford takes about maybe 5 minutes to do. TCMs take a couple of minutes to do. It's not that long. It's when you get into do the key programming is when it takes a little longer to do. But, you know, average time for PCM maybe takes about 5 to 10 minutes to do for programming altogether. When you start knowing what you're doing, obviously you're going to go a lot faster. It'll take you about 10, 15 minutes to do the programming. All right, once it's programmed, the module is programmed, it'll say, I'll give you this option right here where the calibrations have been loaded and checked. That means everything has been checked, the program has been completed, and now it's going to erase DTCs on its own. All right. Now it's asking me to cycle the key off and then on, which I'm going to do. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the tick once I've done that. There's going to be a check mark at the bottom. I do apologize. My face is right in front of it, so my apologies. All right. So now the module's been programmed, all right? So it's going to revert us back to the main menu here, all right? So what I'm going to want to do now, I replace the PCM. I got to program the keys. Now I'm going to show you guys what to look for when you got to program keys, all right? So what we're going to do now is at the top left-hand corner, you see I arrowed where the toolbox is at again. Click on that. Once you click on that, it's going to take you to where it says module programming and then PATS functions. You're going to click on PATS functions because we're going to do the key programming. Okay, so control function locations and maximum number of keys. So it's letting you know where these keys are stored, what module these keys are stored at. So right now these keys are stored in the instrument cluster on this particular vehicle. All right, so I know that. Since I reprogrammed the PCM, I don't need to program the keys on this car, all right? Because the keys are not stored in the PCM, they're stored in the instrument cluster, all right? So it's right there, it's telling me right there that I don't need to program keys. All I have to do is really do a parameter reset. So the maximum number of keys, it's in the instrument cluster, and the maximum number of keys are 8 that I can do. So I can do 8 keys, brand new keys for the customer if I wanted to. The minimum number of keys I can do are 2. All right. So the minimum, you have to have 2 keys if you're going to program the card. You can't have one, and you can't have a clone key. You have to have an OEM key. All right. That's very important. So like I told you earlier, guys, the keys are stored in the instrument cluster, and right there is telling me it requires a parameter reset after installation of a new PCM or PATS module. So we replace the PCM, we program the PCM, but it's telling me I don't need to program the keys, I just need to do a parameter reset. So when you go into the security access, all you have to do is a parameter reset, and you're done. The car will start, and you don't have to do anything else. But for the purpose of the webinar, I'm going to show you guys what you have to do when you got to program the keys, okay? Okay, once I know that, I'm going to click on the tick on the bottom. It's asking me to turn the ignition key on, engine off. At this point, you're going to have it on. And it's going to take about 10 minutes. This always takes about 10 minutes to access security. If you do not do this correctly, and you do not program the keys correctly, you're doing another 10 minutes again. I've had guys do it like at least 5 times and into an hour doing a key programming because they're not doing it correctly. Be patient with it. All right. If it tells you to do 3 seconds or 5 seconds, don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Let the module understand what you're doing so it can program the key properly. Okay. Don't rush it. Just do it as it's telling you. All right. Once you know that and it's gone through this process, it's going to say it's going to go through this process for 10 minutes, and you see a bar right here. Once you see this bar, you can go off for 10 minutes and do what you got to do. If you got to do an oil change, you got to do a tire rotation. If you got to do something else that's going to take 10 minutes, go ahead and do it. You just come back, and the program will still load itself. It won't go anywhere. It won't reset. It'll just load the program. Once the test is complete, it's telling you that you will need 2 keys to program the vehicle. So we have 2 keys to program the vehicle. And do you wish to continue? Yes. Now, if you see where I'm looking at right now, it says if you replace the PATS, so the IC or the VIC or the HEC, you're going to need 2 keys. Okay? So pay attention to this. If you don't see a PCM here, we don't have to program the keys like I said earlier. All you got to do is a parameter reset. But for the purpose of the webinar, I'm going to show you. All right? No clone keys. Just OEM keys. All right, guys? So once you program the keys, you're going to run into issues where you can't start the car, all right? The reason why you can't start the car is because you have 2 clone keys. The customer probably brought you the module and said, hey, I want you to program this module for me, and here are my 2 keys. And you're going to program the module, you're going to be like, wait a minute, I can't start this car. I just programmed. I did everything in the webinar. I cycled the key. I went through the security access. I can't program these keys. These keys are not programming. Why is that? Odds are you probably have clone keys. You don't have OEM keys. The customer probably had a clone key and got another key cut, so it's cloned to that key. If you have that going on, what you got to do is you got to call a dealership and get an OEM key, cut the key, and get another OEM key to program the key. All right? So that's very important. So it's simple as that. All you got to do most of the times when you program keys is ask you to insert the key in the ignition switch, turn the key on for 3 seconds, turn the key off, remove the key, put the second key in, key on, engine off for 3 seconds, turn it off, remove the key, and then it's going to tell you try to start the engine. If it doesn't start, it's because you probably have clone keys, or you have a key that's not cut right, or it's not an OEM key. So you want to make sure you get OEM keys so you don't waste your time, you don't waste the customer's time, okay? So that quick question of the customer is always good because it'll save you a lot of headache and time, and you don't have to be dealing with, all that time you wasted, not knowing that the keys aren't OEM, all right? So make sure that is OEM, all right? So that's programming keys, in an instant. It's not hard. All right, so now I'm going to get into the Solenoid strategy ID and body ID programming for if you're replacing a valve body on a transmission. All right, so you replace the transmission, you replace the valve body, you replace the module, and they tell you, hey, you got to enter the Solenoid strategy ID and the body ID on this after you program it. And it's not going to work right. It's because it's the flow data for the valve body, and it talks to the PCM as it operates. All right, so As you can see here, I've given you an image here. It's really simple. At the top, it's got the Solenoid strategy ID, which is mostly consists of maybe 12, I think 13 digits long, no number, no alphabets. The body ID at the bottom is what's going to have alphabets on it. So if it has, this one says 01234, 3FD 7197, that's the Solenoid body ID. All right. Most of the time, you're going to find it on the bell housing of the transmission. That's where you're going to find it. Best practice is to grab these numbers before you install the transmission. I got a lot of guys who call in that want to program the valve body but don't have these numbers, and they're calling underneath the car just to get these numbers out. And they either it's not there because it's a used transmission and they've scratched off the sticker. If the vehicle requires a Solenoid body ID, you're going to have to search for these numbers, or you're not going to get it right. You're not going to be able to program the transmission right, and it's not going to shift correctly. All right. So you want to get these numbers are very important. You have to input these to be able to program it successfully. All right. So once we have the Solenoid ID number and we have the body ID number, we're ready to program it. So we go into the functions. Obviously, we read the vehicle. We got all the VIN numbers correct. My voltage is good. There's no loads in the car. I'm ready to go. And I got the transmission in there. It's good. Guys, don't worry about the fluid being in the transmission. You don't have to have the fluid in the transmission. That's only if you're going to start it and you're going to shift it. If you got the car apart and you just want to program the module, go right ahead. You don't have, later on when you get everything back together again and you're ready, you have fluid in the transmission, then you can start up and see she has shifting issues. But other than that, if it doesn't matter whether you have fluid or not in the transmission, you can just program the IDs into the valve body and you should be straight. All right. So what you're looking for is programmable parameters. Transmission is what you're choosing. And this is the image you're going to see. All right. It's asking you to input the strategy ID number, the Solenoid strategy ID number on the top. The body ID number is going at the bottom. All right. So all you got to do is copy and paste it there or input it there. Once you have both of them there and you're secure and you know the numbers are correct, all you do is click on the update icon. It will update the module for you. Because right now what it's reading is the original that was there when the car was first built. And right now you're putting another module and we're changing. It's going to be different, obviously. So we're going to have to change that and update the module. Once you do that, check for an update on the PCM once it's done. After programming the SSID and the body ID, and you're all done with that. Very simple. So yeah, there you go. So that's very simple. Solenoid ID, body ID, and then update the PCM. Make sure you update the PCM. Do not update the PCM. It's required to update the PCM. Again, like I said, the PCM most of the times controls the outputs of the transmission. So that PCM needs to be up to date and run in junction with that transmission control module so it operates correctly. Then you can take the vehicle out for a road test, see how you do. On certain models, it actually has certain steps to do what to do after programming the transmission, so you can have a successful flow of the transmission in the valve body. But most of the times they don't. So that's basically it with the gist of Ford programming. Guys, I really appreciate you joining me. I hope I showed you guys, giving you a little more knowledge. What it is, I'm a little nervous in my webinar. I apologize if I was stuttering a little bit, but yeah, it's a lot going on right now, and I'm glad to be here with you guys. And we have a lot of good stuff right now. We're running a special financing offer on the Drive Pro ES tool. 0 down, no payments for 90 days on the Drive Pro ES. All right, that's the new tool that's out now. Okay. At Opus IVS, we understand your business is going through a difficult time due to the COVID-19. We are here to help you through this temporary crisis, so you're prepared to handle this influx of vehicles needing service when it passes. We can help you become the trusted dealer alternative with live repair guidance from OE brand specific master technicians and remote programming service offered through the Drive Pro ES. All right. Thank you guys for joining our webinar this afternoon. We hope you learned a little bit more about Ford. If you knew about Ford already, I hope I've helped you guys understand it more. I really hope you guys join the webinar for the JLR protocol for security programming with JLR. It's a pretty cool webinar. I hope you guys enjoy that if you do join it. If you have any questions, just email that webinar at opusivs.com. webinars, excuse me, webinars at opusivs.com. And that's basically it, guys. So again, thank you for being with us, and have a great day, and stay safe out there, and take care of yourself. All right. Have a nice night.